Itsuarpok. You're expecting someone. A friend coming over. A package you ordered. Maybe a date you've been looking forward to all week. And even though you know they're not here yet, you keep checking. You peek out the window. You check your phone again. You walk to the door for no real reason. You know logically that nothing has changed in the last 3 minutes, but your body just can't sit still. That's Itsuarpok. It comes from the Inuit people of the Arctic, and at its most literal. It means going outside repeatedly to check if someone is coming. Originally, it described the act of scanning the horizon, waiting for a hunter or a traveler to return home across the ice. Today, it looks a lot like refreshing your messages every 30 seconds. The feeling is the same, that restless, anticipatory energy that just won't let you stay in your seat. It's not quite anxiety, and it's not quite excitement. It lives right in between. Komorebi. You're walking through a park, or a forest, and the light is doing something beautiful. It's coming through the leaves in scattered beams, shifting, dappled, soft. It's not just sunlight. It's sunlight interrupted by something alive, moving with the breeze, making the whole scene look almost like it's breathing. In Japanese, that specific phenomenon has a name, Komorebi. It's made up of 3 kanji characters, tree, leaking through, and light. Together, they describe something that every language has seen but only Japanese decided was important enough to name. This kind of attention to fleeting natural beauty is deeply embedded in Japanese culture. There's a whole philosophy around it. The idea that something is more precious because it doesn't last. Komorebi only exists for a moment. The light shifts. The leaves move. And it's gone. And that's exactly what makes it worth noticing. Gigil. You see a baby, or a tiny puppy, or a kitten that fits in the palm of your hand, and something just short-circuits in your brain. You don't just think that's cute. You feel this almost unbearable urge to squeeze something. Your hands clench. You might grit your teeth. You might make a sound that isn't quite a word. Filipinos have a name for this, gigil. It's the physical, almost overwhelming reaction to something so cute that your body doesn't know what to do with itself. And here's what's fascinating. This isn't just a cultural quirk. Psychologists have actually studied this response. It's called cute aggression, and it seems to be the brain's way of regulating an emotion so positive that it becomes almost too much to handle. Gigil is so specific, so universally felt, and so perfectly described that, in 2025, it was officially added to the Oxford English Dictionary, making it one of the rare Filipino words to enter the global vocabulary. Torschlusspanik. You're at a certain age, maybe 30, maybe 40, and you start doing the math in your head. The career you always said you'd pursue. The place you always said you'd move to. The relationship. The family. The version of your life that still felt possible. And somewhere along the way, quietly, you start wondering, is the window closing? In German, this has a name, Torschlusspanik. Broken down literally, it means gate closing panic. Tor for gate, Schluss for closing, panic for panic. The word actually dates back to medieval times, when city gates would shut at nightfall to keep out thieves and attackers. If you didn't make it back before the gate closed, you were locked out for the night. That specific dread of the opportunity disappearing before you reach it, carried over into modern life. Now it describes the creeping anxiety that time is running out. Not just for one thing, but for the whole picture of who you thought you'd be by now. Wabi-Sabi. There's a cracked ceramic mug you own that you still use even though you could replace it. Or a wooden table that's been scratched and worn from years of dinners. Or a photograph that's slightly faded but somehow more beautiful for it. The Japanese philosophy of Wabi-Sabi is the art of finding beauty in exactly that imperfection, impermanence, and things that are incomplete. Wabi, on its own, originally referred to a kind of rustic simplicity. Sabi referred to the beauty that comes with age and wear. Together, they became a worldview. In traditional Japanese tea ceremonies, the bowls were often intentionally irregular, hand-shaped, asymmetrical, not perfectly smooth. That was the point. Perfection is cold. Imperfection is human. Wabi-Sabi says that the crack in the wall, the worn edge of a book, the wrinkle, these aren't flaws to be fixed. They're the evidence of a life actually lived. Cafuné. There's a specific kind of quiet that comes when someone you love runs their fingers gently through your hair. Slowly, tenderly, with no particular destination. If you've experienced it, you know it's one of the most calming things in the world. If you haven't, it is hard to explain why it's so different from any other kind of touch. In Brazil, this action has its own word, cafuné. It describes the act of tenderly running your fingers through someone's hair as a gesture of affection. Interestingly, the word has roots in Yoruba, a West African language brought to Brazil through the slave trade, which is a reminder that so much of what we think of as distinctly Brazilian culture has African origins woven through it. Cafuné is what a mother does to a child who can't sleep, what a partner does after a long, hard day. It's not romantic in the dramatic sense. It's intimate in the quieter, safer sense. It's care expressed through touch, without needing to say a word. Jayus. Someone tells a joke. It's not clever. It's not well-timed. The punchline barely makes sense. By any reasonable measure, it should land with complete silence. And yet, you laugh. Not because it was funny, but because it was so bad that somehow, it flipped back around. The sheer commitment to a terrible joke becomes its own kind of comedy. In Indonesian, this is called Jayus. It refers specifically to a joke that's so unfunny, so poorly told, so hopelessly bad, that you end up laughing anyway, usually at the person who told it rather than the joke itself. There's something genuinely warm about this word. A Jayus isn't mean-spirited. It doesn't make fun of anyone. It's what happens when someone's innocent, wholehearted attempt at humor fails completely, and in that failure, somehow creates exactly the moment they were going for. It requires a certain kind of openness to appreciate. You have to be willing to laugh at the absurdity of someone trying so hard. Ubuntu. There's an old story told across southern Africa. A researcher placed a basket of fruit near a tree and told a group of children that whoever ran to it first could have it all. He expected them to race. Instead, they held hands and ran together, and shared the fruit equally when they arrived. When asked why, they said, "How can one of us be happy if all the others are sad?" That story captures the spirit of Ubuntu, originating from the Nguni Bantu languages of southern Africa, including Zulu and Xhosa. Ubuntu is often translated as humanity toward others. Its deeper expression comes from the phrase umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, which means, a person is a person through other people. Put simply, you don't exist in isolation. Your identity, your well-being, your very humanity, is shaped by the community around you. Archbishop Desmond Tutu described Ubuntu as the quality of being open and affirming toward others, understanding that your own flourishing is inseparable from the flourishing of everyone around you. In a world that often celebrates radical individualism, Ubuntu offers a different lens entirely. Not, I think, therefore I am. But, I am, because we are.